All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to a very short presentation and overview of CBD. So this is really kind of generic. It's not really designed for Viseo CBD, but I am going to kind of cover stuff like that in there. So I do this presentation for just basic education on CBD and whether it is right for somebody. So this is just kind of talking about me being a certified holistic health and life coach, 16 years industry experience. This should say actually 10 years experience training, working with individuals, families, healthcare professionals, basically saying I've been doing this a long time, blah, blah. So there is the disclaimer that I am not a doctor, so I never will intend to prevent, treat, or cure. I have to say that to CYA. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go over some definitions because I think just having a basic understanding of what some of the definitions are clears up a lot of confusion already. So we're going to start with an endocannabinoid. So we actually have a system in our body of receptors, and it's shortened to the ECS. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in depth, but it's basically providing balance or homeostasis for all of your other body systems. And like I said, I'm going to go more into that. Hemp is the male version of cannabis. So cannabis is the overall plant name. It has a male plant, and that's hemp. And then obviously it has a female plant. But hemp has been used for a very, very long time for fiber, clothing, oils, that kind of thing. And then there's marijuana. And marijuana has the buds. That's the female plant that has the very high levels of THC. And like I said, I'll cover that next. So CBD and THC, these acronyms here. So CBD stands for cannabidiol. It is a cannabinoid that has been studied and researched for so long. It is primarily known for its neurological improvements in neurological conditions, also for mental health issues, pain, that sort of thing. And then THC, tetrahydrocannabidiol, is the psychoactive part. So that's the part that's responsible for people feeling like high or stoned or that euphoric feeling. So that is what, when we're trying to legalize marijuana, that's basically what we're trying to legalize is tetrahydrocannabidiol. Okay, so we're also going to talk about some other things tonight. What is a liposome? And a liposome is a dual layer sphere or fat bubble that contains something inside, and I'm going to get to that. Bioavailability. So that is the degree at which something is absorbed into the bloodstream. So it's not the same as the word absorption. So I'll cover that. So liposomes and bioavailability just kind of go hand in hand there. And then some terms that are common in the market are broad spectrum CBD. And that typically is CBD that has little to no THC in it, the psychoactive compound, but it still has the full cannabinoid profile and terpenes and that kind of thing. And then full spectrum CBD has everything in it, the full panel of what people are looking for out of cannabis. Okay, so let's talk about the ECS, right? The endocannabinoid system. So it is a network of receptors in your body. There's CB1 and CB2 receptors in every part of your body. And I think that it is so fascinating that as you sit here and watch this, your body is creating small amounts of CBD already. So the ECS is responsible, like I said, for regulating and providing balance amongst your body systems like neurological, cardiovascular, digestive, reproductive, so on. So it is involved in a variety of functions, right? Fertility, digestion, memory, inflammatory response, pain, everything. So you can see here that there's all these different parts of our body and different organs that the ECS is responsible for. So here's what happened. Before 1937, cannabis would grow wild, and it would grow alongside the grass. And that's why it's called grass or weed, okay? Is because it grew wildly everywhere. And so before 1937, and how nature, God, whatever your spiritual belief is, how we humans were meant to get CBD. The farm animals, or just animals in nature, would eat the cannabis alongside the grass, and then we would eat the animals. And so that's how nature intended for us to get the cannabinoids additional into our body. However, 1937, it became illegal, highly illegal, to have cannabis growing anywhere, whether it's the male plant or the female plant. So unfortunately, cannabinoids have been removed from our diet for a very, very long time. And so the only way for us to get that CBD that we need is through supplementation. So this is a short little video that you can watch if you wanted to kind of take a screenshot of the screen or write down the Vimeo link there. It's a short 4-minute video that will kind of play in events like that, but I'm not going to do it here. So here is a side-by-side picture of hemp versus marijuana. So hemp is there on the left, and you can see it's the classic leaf shape. And then over on the right is the marijuana. And that's what you're looking at, is the buds. You can see all the little hairs that are coming out of them. And it's basically growing up along the stem, and that's the flower. So it's a good visual representation of the difference between the male and female plant. So let's talk about hemp. So it is really valued for its medicinal component, CBD. The seeds are like the perfect nutritional profile. So it is a great addition to your diet. I mean, look at that. It's 30% protein, 30% fat, and 20% carbs. I mean, it really doesn't get any better than that. So like I was saying, and it's become more popular recently, is the use of hemp in textiles and clothing, fabrics. It's very, very durable and lasts a long time. So it's been used, I mean, in ropes on old time ships and stuff. So the thing is that hemp is also a soil cleaner. So there's two ways to look at that. A, that's great, right? When we have environmental disasters, now we can plant hemp and it will suck up all of the heavy metals and toxins and chemicals out of the soil and replace the microbes, and we have a beautiful, healthy environment again. On the other hand, if that hemp is being used for nutritional products, there's a problem there. So it has this great ability to clean the soil, but if that hemp is being used in your body, now we're subjecting ourselves to more toxins. So I'm going to talk about that. The US is the largest importer, of hemp overall, and hemp products. So most of that is coming from Canada and from China. I'll let that sink in a minute. So the World Health Organization a few years ago said, in humans, CBD exhibits no effects indicative of any abuse or dependence potential. To date, there is no evidence of recreational use of CBD or any public health-related problems associated with the use of pure CBD. Hallelujah. That is wonderful. So here is a list of ongoing trials and medical conditions that CBD has been approved. So as we look through this list, there are a lot of things that our friends, family, coworkers, maybe even ourselves are currently dealing with. Anxiety, addiction, dependence, epilepsy, I know this, why am I blanking on this? Genetic disorders, spasms, cancers, I said more addiction, pain, Parkinson's is a huge one, schizophrenia, PTSD, tumors, TB, ulcerative colitis. So you can find more about this on Science Direct. That's where I basically got this screenshot from. Okay, so let's talk about marijuana. So like I said, that's the female plant that's creating all of the buds. So the marijuana has high levels of THC. And now that it's becoming a huge industry, growers are able to manipulate the strains, and they have all these cute, funny names to them as a hybrid. So something I should put on this slide is that there's two types of marijuana. There is a sativa, which has thin leaves, and then there's an indica, which has more fat leaves. So if you kind of look behind the slide here, right here, this would be an indica leaf. It has very fat leaves. So what I mean by that is the sativa strain is much more uppity and it gives people more energy. And the indica, how I remember it, is indicouch. Okay, so that's going to give you that kind of more relaxation, sleep-based, downer type feeling of marijuana. So the indica strains typically have higher levels of CBD, and the sativa, the bubbly, uppity strains, have higher levels of THC. I hope that makes sense. So THC is really what's illegal. And that's what we're trying to legalize across the United States and other parts of the world. Other countries, it is legal. So it's recreationally and medically legal in 10 states plus DC. Medical use only 30 states, still completely illegal. I mean, in any amount in 10 states. So it does release dopamine in the brain, which creates that happy feeling. I stand very strongly behind the fact that no one under the age of 21, unless it is for a very well documented and necessary medical circumstance, no one under the age of 21 should be consuming THC. It affects the development of the frontal cortex, and it's just not something that people should really, or young people should really be messing with. So that's my personal opinion and thought about that based on research and evaluations. Also, if a history of schizophrenia runs in your family, THC is not a good option there either. But it does require more long-term studies. And it's funny because the only plant that the government has a patent on is cannabis. Interesting. So let's talk about bioavailability. This is super crucial to consider. When you look at clinical data, which is a study done on a human, the amount of CBD that's actually making it into the bloodstream is pathetic. It is 6 to 10%. And I'm going to talk more about this a little bit later in the presentation. However, 6 to 10%. That just breaks my heart. Before I found Viseo, I had searched high and low for a CBD for anxiety, bouts of depression, occasional sleeplessness, minor pain, stress, and nothing. I mean, nothing worked. It was horrible. I spent thousands of dollars on CBD products that I would use half the bottle and I would never get an effect from it. And I never understood why until I learned about bioavailability. So there's absorption, which is the amount that is absorbed through into, basically absorbed through whatever the absorption lining is, whether it's the villi, it's the mucous membrane, but the amount that makes it in the blood is the amount that counts. So understand that if a nutrient, whether it's a vitamin, a mineral, it is CBD, it is a drug, a pharmaceutical drug, if it's not in the blood, it's in the toilet. So unfortunately, at a 6 to 10% bioavailability, that means 90 to 94% of what people buy is going down the toilet. Not cool. So, especially CBD. CBD is a massive molecule when you look at it in comparison. I like to compare it, so compared to THC. So CBD would be like the size of a basketball, and THC would be like the size of a golf ball. And so that's why THC is so much better absorbed, and you feel it faster than the CBD. It's also subject to a lot of degradation and breakdown in the stomach because of all the hydrochloric acid. That's the job of the stomach. So you have to find a way to break it down, the CBD, to a smaller size, and then also protect it from going through the digestive system. Part of the problem with typical CBD is that, let's see what's on the next slide. Okay. So part of the problem with typical CBD that you would find from a dispensary or from a reputable shop is going to be that, let's say you take a CBD gummy, and I'm going to talk about different delivery methods, but you take a CBD gummy, it goes down your esophagus. First place it hits is your stomach, where then it breaks it down and denatures it. And then it starts going down into your small intestine. Well, first, it needs to be processed also through the liver. So that's where the problem is that the liver trying to process the CBD can lead to some issues. However, if you put CBD in a liposome like this, so again, if you want to learn more about liposomes, if you're watching this video, you probably already know about them, but you can go and check out this link right here. However, by putting CBD in this dual layer fat bubble right here, now we're protecting it, pulling it down into a smaller size. And this little fat bubble basically tricks the body into thinking it's just a fat cell, and it doesn't go to the liver. That is what makes this also so important for people who have fatty liver issues or just liver issues overall. And their doctors say, hey, listen, I don't think it's wise for you to use CBD because of the liver functioning. Well, now we solve that problem. And obviously the bioavailability problem too. So let's talk about different delivery methods. So 4 different ways to get CBD or cannabinoids into your body all over. So inhalation. This is the one that we know the most, right? People talk about smoking weed, right? It's marijuana. So inhalation is a big way of getting that. So you can either smoke dried hemp, kind of like, put it in a pipe or roll it into papers, or you can vape it. So that is a much more common process of using CBD than getting dried hemp and rolling it up. So the thing about vaping it though, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, is that they have to use solvents for that process. And so there is a lot of chemicals that go into making that process. And now you're talking about using a product for your health, but now you're taking into your lungs all these other chemicals that haven't been tested at all. So while inhalation of CBD is the most bioavailable way of getting it, it kind of is like, I mean, weighing your circumstances there, right? Would you rather have lung damage and be putting chemicals into your lungs, but have a higher bioavailability? I mean, I don't know. So that's not my favorite method, honestly, for taking in CBD. Second is ingestion. The most popular CBD method and products on the market are gummies. Candy. I mean, it makes sense. Like, do you not love candy? I mean, I love candy. So of course you would want to eat CBD in a gummy form, or it's crazy. People have come out with CBD liquor and CBD, obviously cooking oils and candies and cakes. I follow a girl on Instagram that cooks with CBD, and that's her whole business baking with CBD. She's a baker. But there's also documentaries, Netflix series about cooking with cannabis. I think that's actually the name of the show. But that also has THC in there. So like I was saying earlier, the issue is that it's processed by the liver and then the leftovers are sent to the bloodstream. So it is ineffective. It does unless it's in a liposome, it can raise liver enzymes and that sort of thing. So it's really important that we get it in a smaller size and we put it in a liposome for ingestion. Sublingual is an under the tongue, right? The typical method that we're using CBD, at least with this company. So that is a great bioavailability of getting that in, especially if it's liposomal like ours. You aren't even putting it down into your digestive tract. It is literally getting absorbed through the mucous membranes in your mouth like that. I mean, it's so quick that if you let it sit there for 30 seconds and swallow the rest, like, I forget what Tracy Gibbs was saying, you got like 80 to 90% of it in 30 seconds straight in your bloodstream without making it go down to your digestive tract. So I think that's the best way. A lot of companies will put these synthetic artificial flavorings in it. And I just hate that. It's a natural product. At least for our CBD, there's natural extracts that aren't there for flavor. That was one of the most interesting things I found out, was those extracts of passion fruit, papaya, pineapple, and I think there's one more, are not for flavor. They're actually for additional anti-inflammatory benefits. And then they just add a little bit of stevia to sweeten it up. So like I was saying, sublingual bypasses the liver and the digestive tract. So out of the three so far, the sublingual is going to win the boat from a bioavailability standpoint and just an overall better method. And then lastly is topically. So that's going to be a CBD cream. For your information, most CBD creams on the market are lidocaine. Lidocaine is Bengay, Aspercream. It is the $5 pain creams that people go to Target to buy. and they're being sold on shelves for $60, $90, $150. And you know what's in there? Lidocaine and hemp seed oil or hemp seed extract. It's not the same. People are getting scammed in a huge way with CBD cream, and it just pains me. And that's why I love our CBD cream. Usually it's on my desk somewhere. However, I love it because it is a liposomal cream. And the thing, like I was saying about CBD being so large, our pores are small. So using a traditional CBD, like let's say that you found a great product, you still are going to have to use so much and really, really rub it into the skin to be able to get it down into that subcutaneous tissue to reach those nerve endings and provide that relief. Oftentimes it's the lidocaine, because the lidocaine's like this big. So unfortunately, I hate that about CBD cream. So ours has that liposomal CBD, so it really goes down to where it needs to be. And then it has what's called capsaicin. So capsaicin is cayenne pepper. And what that does is it brings blood, warms the skin by bringing blood flow more to the surface. So we're even improving the bioavailability that way. And then it has a couple of essential oils in there to give it a nice fragrance, not overpowering if you haven't tried it yet, but just a nice, clean, fresh, kind of minty smell to it. Okay. Here's where I get to talk about the CBD industry and all of my little pet peeves. So in 2019, I want you to take a look at all of the companies who got warning letters and poor test results as from the FDA. This is a lot. And guys, I just did 2019. It goes back like 2015, where they're basically scamming people. So there's a lot. Organics, Rooted Apothecary, Curaleaf. Ooh, that's not good at all. So, it pains me. And that's why I'm so proud to represent a CBD brand like what we have. So, product labeling is a big deal. There is no product labeling law for the words CBD on a label. Nothing. So people can put no CBD in there and just slap the label CBD on there and put it on the shelf with no repercussions. And quite honestly, with it being called the gold rush of our time and being a $22 to $30 billion projected industry, I get it. So, like I was saying before, studies are finding solvents, heavy metals, pesticides, and more coming in from products. So CannaSafe, and I think that's next, yeah. Okay, so CannaSafe is a California cannabis testing company. It's an independent lab. So they did a blind analysis of the top 20 CBD products, and 3 of them, that's it, 3 actually contained the milligrams in the bottle that's listed on the label. It's horrible. So this is a great short clip from The Doctors, which is a daytime TV show. A panel of doctors get together and talk about different health products and issues, solutions, that kind of thing. And so they did a investigative report, basically, and with CannaSafe. And so that's where I got this from, was from this review. So it was horrifying. I really recommend that you check out this video, even just kind of putting into YouTube the doctor's CBD investigative report or the doctor's CBD or something like that. So you can kind of watch this. It's very eye-opening. Okay, so here are the requirements that that I suggest along with other medical professionals. I'm not saying I'm a medical professional, but I just work with a lot of them. So this is what they're looking for. First of all, independent third-party lab results, something that's called a certificate of analysis. And yes, we have one. So they're looking for that to show the amount of cannabinoids that are actually in there. Also, that there's no solvents, no heavy metals, and no detectable THC. So that's really what they're looking for and what you should be looking for too. Thankfully, Viseo has a certificate of analysis with all of those things. Also, non-GMO hemp. So I don't feel like I really have to explain why that's important, and organic compliant. I have talked at great lengths about that as well. So an advanced delivery technology like liposomes is going to give you the most benefit from CBD and bang for your buck, so to speak. If you do the math on normal CBD, like let's say this was just a normal bottle of CBD that you got from a CBD shop or something, 1,000 milligram bottle would cost people about $100, right? That for the good stuff, to have the right stuff in there, this little thing would cost $100. And so even if it's a nano size, it's still, and they have this special, I mean, if it had a special nanotechnology, it'd not be $100, it'd probably be like $150 for one bottle. So if it's not, it doesn't have a special technology in it, that means that at 6 to 10%, $90 to $94 that person spent went right down the toilet. If that make you cringe, I don't know what else to say, because I sure as heck don't want to be wasting 90 to 94 of my $100 right down the toilet. So that liposome technology is going to ensure a much higher result and bioavailability. Plant to Package USA company, highly recommend that for what I just stated during this kind of talk here, is making sure that it's the company that you are finding a CBD from is has good common good practices from the FDA, and it has labels on it. Also that it's gluten-free and certified to be THC-free. People will say, oh, and I should have covered this earlier, I guess. People will say, oh, well, you know, it has the legal limit of 0.3%. THC builds up in your body. So the problem is yeah, you can use a CBD that has, you know, 0.3, these trace amounts of THC, but the reality is that stuff builds up in your body, and people will have a positive urinalysis and they will lose their job. And I, in no way, shape, or form, want to be affiliated with someone losing their job because they're trying to manage their epilepsy, depression, gastrointestinal issues, Parkinson's. Like, could you imagine? Like, that'd be horrible. So this is when in the presentation I kind of basically say you can stick around and hear more about CBD1, or you can leave. So thank you for watching this. Appreciate your time, and please comment below or let me know if you need any questions answered about CBD.